Welcome speaking. Yes, I can solve your sales problem. You know where my office is at the Spaces, right? I'll see you there soon. I'm gonna have my coffee now. Bye.
Earning business. Going out there and grabbing the right attention. With effective engagement. Earning the relationship. Producing more sales. Increasing cash flow. Multiplying annual revenue. Producing higher profit margins. And a huge return on your investment capital.
Possible to earn and produce $20,000 to $80,000 per week on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Alignable without any advertising and without boosting your content? That is the question, and I'm here to answer that question. My first live in a long time, I would say over a year. Welcome to the Paul Cruz Sales Agency. I've been waiting for this moment, and I've been working on this strategy for, I would say, 3 years, and it works. And it works to perfection. The question comes, are you willing to do the work, right? Now, and I want you to understand this. For those of you who are watching this live stream, do me a favor, hit the subscription button below, share your comments and your thoughts, let me know what you think. Now, there's a lot of sales out there. What I've learned is, for speaking with small business owners, entrepreneurs, even salespeople, a lot of times they don't have the basic fundamentals, and they always try to find a shortcut, trying to find some gimmicks or some applications or some funnels and things like that to produce sales. Have a little zip. So what I've learned is I don't want to be at the mercy of any of those things, because I'm not a big company, not established like a lot of other people. So I have an advantage. My advantage is two things. I know how to close, because I know how to get people engaged and have a high conversion ratio. Okay? That's important. So what I'm going to share with you today, and there's a lot more to it, but I want to keep it simple. But I want to share with you how to produce $20,000 to $80,000 minimum per week on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Alignable, etc. Okay? Now there's two strategies or two methods. One is a method strategy that I use to do that. But before I share that with you, I'm gonna go into this. Let me ask you this question. Let's just say a prospect calls your office, leaves your voice message on your cell phone, that they want to hire you for your service, right? Would you return that voice message call? Would you call them back? If so, why would you call them back? Sounds crazy, right? But here's what you need to understand. You will call them back, I will call them back, because the prospect took a call to action to you, right, via telephone and voice message, that they want to hire you for your services, right? Now that gives you a higher percent to convert them into a sale, but it's not guaranteed, because you may say something wrong within the conversation, right? That may turn them off. So that's what happens to people. They take some of those things lightly. I don't. Whether they call me and leave a voice message, I'm always going to present my services and my value the right way all the time. Never going to cheat them, and I'm never going to cheat myself. Okay? So you would call them back, I would call them back, right? That's just the smartest thing to do, and it's the only really thing to do. So where am I going with this? When someone likes your content on Facebook, whether they like it, they comment on it, they share it, they save it, they view it, whatever it may be, they took a call to action, right? but there's no emotions behind that. It doesn't take much to like a content or make a comment, right? Saving it or sharing it or whatever the case may be. It doesn't take much. There's no emotions involved. How do you get them emotionally involved? You see, to me, all of those things that they do is a voice message. It's for me to make a call to action or take a call to action. And I believe this personally. The most valuable thing you could ever offer a prospect besides your value is you calling them and creating a personal engagement with them. Why? Because everyone likes personal engagement. And I think that's the most important thing, the most valuable thing. That's just my personal view. It's never easy because people today like the quick fix. I like to combine modern day technology with good old fashioned cold calling. And all of the clients that I have all came from social media through my cold calling. That makes sense? So it's your job as an entrepreneur, salesperson, a business owner, always consider other options besides advertising, especially if you're a startup business or you're a young company like 3 years or younger. You want to utilize things that are free, that are more valuable than advertising because you get more bang for your buck. So here's the two things that I used, that I created over the several years, but it came from years of experience in selling and closing, okay? The number one thing I use is what I call social media conversion strategy. What is that? It's basically combining automation with organic. And it's very simple. It's just cold calling prospects that I target that are following me on my social media platforms. So whether you have 100 followers or 1,000 followers, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of opportunities for business there. Why? Because I consider social media today the modern day yellow pages. There's just more of them, right? Does that make sense? So just think about it. So when you're able to do that and understand that, now I have a second part to that. It's the application, it's the action to the strategy. So I have what they call a 5 daily sales rule. What is that? Is I could show you, and you should be able to, no matter where you're at or who you are, you should be able to get 5 qualified leads per day, every single day on Facebook, Instagram, Alignable, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever platforms you're on, you should be able to get 5 qualified prospects per day. The second one to that is 5 qualified follow-up calls per day. In order to have a follow-up call, you have to have an initial call, right? Then the third one is worst case scenario, you should be able to close and produce a minimum of 5 new customers per week. Here's an exciting part. If your business has multiple services and you got 5 new clients, that's a lot of upselling, right? So every customer is worth a certain amount of dollars or more, not just on the initial, but how you do after the initial. Does that make sense? So I want you to think about this. Now, for me, it's cold calling. It's just a tool. It's not the only tool. It's been the most powerful, effective tool for me. So if I can't afford advertising, or I don't want to spend money on advertising, I'd rather spend it on a quality employee that is going to give me more value than the advertising, I just sell. And I train my people to sell. So I have an advantage through cold calling. But it takes hard work. It's not easy, right? So let's think about this. First of all, let's go over the 5-5-5-5 rule, right? Okay. Now let's say it's Monday, okay, and you make calls on Facebook, Instagram, Alignable, and LinkedIn, right? Within those 4 platforms, the worst salesperson or someone who's never sold before or been on the phone before, I could show them how to get at least 5 qualified leads per day. What I do is I use one different platform every day. So let's use Facebook for an example. You get 5 qualified prospects, either from your followers, from those that are watching your story, from those that watch your reels, from those that comment, that like, whatever the case, they're there. It's up to you to do the work, which is slow and methodical, but it's effective. Right? So here's how it works. This is how it's routine for me. So I make 5 phone calls on a Monday, right? My goal is always, number 1, is to do a 1-call close. I'm about 30% on that. So if I get 5 qualified leads or prospects per day, my goal is always to get a follow-up call with them if I don't close them on Tuesday. Worst case Wednesday, but I set the tone for that. Okay? Does that make sense? So you got 5 qualified prospects on Monday, right? So on Tuesday, those 5 qualified prospects, you set up follow-up call for Tuesday, right? Now Tuesday comes. You got 5 follow-up calls, but you still have to get 5 qualified leads to schedule follow-up calls for Wednesday, right? So now you got 5 follow-up calls for Wednesday. Wednesday comes, you do the same thing. Your goal is to get 5 qualified prospects on Wednesday. Obviously, the goal is to close every day, right? So you do that for 5 days. Here's the exciting part. I want you to think about this. I love this. You will have produced, without you realizing, 50 qualified prospects per week. A blind squirrel or someone who never sold before can close 10% out of. So 10% closing ratio on 50 qualified prospects is 5 new accounts per week. Now let's run some numbers on it's not just getting 5 accounts per week or 50 qualified prospects per week. It's deeper than that. Number 1 is this. If you close 5 out of 50, right, or 10%, you still have 45 prospects that we call pipeline leads for future business, right? And the way I do and the way I strategize, about 45 to 60% of those pipeline leads eventually become a client within 60 to 90 days from that point, maybe sooner. Does that make sense? Number 2, you get 5 new customers per week and you have multiple services. That means you have 20 new customers every single month. Think about it. 20 a month that you targeted, you know all about, you know they could use your services, you know they need your services, and you were able to take a call to action, get them engaged, and convert them into a customer. That's powerful. It may not sound exciting in the beginning because nobody likes to do the grunt work. Does that make sense? So you got 20 new customers in 1 month. That's valuable, especially if you got multiple services to offer. So each client is worth a certain amount of dollars every single month, especially if you have a monthly fee like I do. Now let's do some numbers. And I want to use my numbers for example because this is what I do. My services range from 5,000 minimum to 25,000, and probably even more depending on the size of the company. So let's just use the minimum, 5,000. So if I close and I get 5 new customers a week, that's $25,000 a week, right? That actually, yeah, $25,000 a week times 4 weeks in a month. That's $100,000 for that month. And my minimum agreement and service agreement is 90 days. So that's $300,000 in 3 months. Think about it. Okay? So that's why this is important, the 5-5-5 rule. Then you got to think about the 45 leads or profit that you didn't close for 1 month, right? 45. That's 180 qualified leads or qualified prospect that you have in your pipeline. And I always focus on keeping a valuable pipeline, because I know some of those are going to turn into business. But you have to set the tone for that, just like everything else. You got to. I always set the tone. Does that make sense? So I want you to think about it. If somebody likes your content and they comment on your content and they're sharing your content and they're saving your content, obviously they like it, right? But there's no emotion behind that yet. And to me, that's their call to action. For me, a CTA is the action that I take. That I go out there and grab the attention and earn the relationship. And then the business will come. Because you can't get business unless you earn the relationship, right? Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying? So, social media conversion strategy. You have to identify your prospect. You have to know what their problems are. You have to have the solution for their problem so that you could take the action. But they'll let you know by the action they initially take. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter if you have 100,000 followers or 1,000 or 100. There's business. There's sales to be made and to be produced every single day, every single week on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Alignable, TikTok, YouTube. It doesn't matter. You just have to know how to do it. So if you want to learn how to do it, subscribe to my channel below, smash the like button, share your comment, instant message me, let me know, what you want to learn, and I'll get back with you 24 and I'll show you how this works. Now, I will tell you this. It's not easy. It takes discipline. It takes commitment. You have to be able to starve out your distractions, whatever those may be. And you probably heard me say this several times in my previous videos, but I eat, breathe, and live it. This is what I do. And then you got to feed your focus, because it's different. Now again, if you're not a big company, that you don't have a big budget to do advertising, I don't have nothing against advertising. I just don't need to spend my money on that yet. It makes no sense for me to do that, when I could take that money and invest it in a person that's going to give me $2 on every dollar I pay them, or at least $2 minimum. That's going to help my business internally grow. Why? Because I know how to sell, and I know how to teach my people how to sell. And this is what I do for my students and my clients and my people. It's exciting, but it's not easy. Like I said, this is the grunt work. I've been doing this for a long time, and I love every minute of it, every part of it, because I get to control and I get to set the tone for how the relationship will be established. Because if you take the initial action, you got to set the tone. You got to earn that relationship so that you guys can build a business relationship and you both profit from it, right? For me, it's very simple. My company, Paul Cruz Sales Agency, what do? Where sales happen. What do I do personally? I solve sales problems. That's it. And every business, my business, we all need sales, right? Because sales is the bloodline to the business. It's the oil and the gas to the vehicle, right? But selling is the vehicle or the cause. The sales is the destination or the effect, right? That's what you have to remember. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? So just to recap, if you're serious and you want to produce and you want to how to produce $20,000 to $80,000 per week, again, it depends on the price of your services. But you could do it. It may take you 10 sales versus 5 sales a week, right? So it all depends, but it could be done. The question is, are you willing to make the change? And if you make the change and your commitment, let me explain to you the results. Number one, your sales will grow exponentially, consistently. Number two, if you have a monthly service fee, your cash flow will increase month in, month out. Month in, month out. Number three, because you're not paying for advertising, you're cutting your expenses. Your expenses don't grow. I mean, they do, it's just a little bit, but not much. You will be multiplying your annual revenue. Year in, year out. And here's the exciting part. You will produce higher profit margins. Why? Because you're not spending time and money on advertising. You're doing it yourself. So you're taking that time and that money and creating more value for yourself and your business and your people. Because money follows value, not the other way around. Right? And here's the bonus. You will receive, based on your work, based on your commitment, based on your focus, your discipline, you will receive a huge return on your investment capital, both monetary, mental, and physical labor. Think about it. I've been waiting for a year and a half to talk about this because I wanted to make sure I had it set up right. But that's how you can do it. I hope this was helpful. For those of you who are watching me live, I appreciate you. Comment, share your comments below. Let me know what you think. If you want to know more about it, do me a favor, subscribe, smash the like button, share your comments, and instant message me, and I'll respond to you in 24 hours. Well, thank you for your time. I hope this was helpful. Till we speak again, I say goodbye. This is Paul Cruz with Paul Cruz Sales Agency, where sales happen. Talk to you later.